1,000 bottles of lube on the wall. 1,000 bottles of lube. One fell. What the hell? 999 bottles of lube still left. Something like that, right?
Bars for brands.
Voice Junkie. A podcast for nerds, unapologetic truths that are put in these words. Voice Junkie. A place to talk sports, politics, and pop culture. See who's holding the torch. Voice Junkie. Who's saying the best? None other than the protagonist, Mr. Chuck West. Voice Junkie. Now tune in and listen to Trendaholics in full effect and giving you wisdom.
Shit. You must got another thing coming. Y'all don't think Diddy gonna get these jokes? Y'all got another thing coming. He gonna get these jokes. Listen, man, all kidding aside just for a second, it's a serious matter, of course. A bunch of people, a bunch of outlets, a bunch of media sources have already reported all the serious details. If you don't know, the man is being accused and being charged with racketeering, sex trafficking, drug possession, those types of things. Not fun at all. He's looking at a minimum of 15 years and he's looking at a max of life. So let's just get into a little bit of the details. Before I get into the details, I do want to talk about just how I feel about the whole thing, being that, Diddy is someone that I grew up not necessarily idolizing, but, somewhat looking up to. That was like our hood heroes, basically. Dame Dash, Diddy, Jay-Z. Those were our hood heroes. Suge Knight was bugging, so we never really put him or claimed him, when we grew up. But Diddy was claimed, man. He was one of ours. We was proud to have him as one of ours. You know what I'm saying? Like, for him to have come up the way he came up, making the cultural impact he has made. Let's be clear. He's had a hell of a career. And to see it all come crumbling down, think about the three names that I named. Dame, man, he's a sad case now, man. I hate to say it, man. Dame was like my favorite out of the two moguls. Like, there was Dame and there was Puff. And Dame was my kind of guy. I like Dame. He had the swag. He had, the lingo, the slang. He had it all. And Diddy was the flamboyant, pretty boy type. So growing up in the hood and making hood moves, Cass wasn't really, like, yo, Diddy this, Diddy that. But when it came to business, everybody respected Diddy's acumen and respected what he did and what he was doing in the music business. So to see him have this meteoric cratering, basically, it's like a meteoric rise. And then just as it was a meteoric rise, it was just as much as a meteoric collapse. And to see it happen is just, we're kind of numb to it, though. We've seen a lot of celebrities now have these crash and burnout moments. We've seen Bill Cosby. We've seen others. Like, we're just in this time now where as time goes along, things change and more things come out. And in Diddy's case, the chickens has come home to roost, man. Growing up, listening to him, listening to his record label, Bad Boy Records, it was a pillar in the black community. I mean, he brought Craig Mack. He brought B.I.G. These was huge in the 90s. Mace came later on. LOX, the Locks. He was on fire in the 90s. Let's be clear. Dude was on fire. He made shiny suits cool. He made waving your Rolex from side to side cool. He did that. I remember summer of 97 when No Way Out came out. That was a very, very pivotal point in my life as far as, coming into my own as a teenager. We used to have block parties growing up and girls, and it was just a fun time. In summer of 97, that album came out, and I still remember it and how great of a summer that was as far as block parties and everything. So Diddy's very much a part of my upbringing and how I grew up. So to see him have this meltdown, to him self-destruct, is just crazy. But is it surprising? No, not at all, man. The signs have been there. The warning signs have been there all along, man. It's like having the flashing lights on your fucking door, on your dashboard in your car. You got that check engine light flashing. or that warning sign. That's a warning sign telling you, yo, you might want to check this out down the road or look into this down the road. Diddy's had them flashing lights for better half of 20 years or more. He's been in shit for not 20 years, 30 years. When he came into the business, when he became famous, he was a promoter. He was a club promoter in the early 90s. Before he got signed to Uptown Records and all of that stuff, he was a very popular club promoter. And when he got signed and he still promoted parties, he got in trouble for, people losing their lives during one of those events, kept his job and all of that. But he was 19 years old. He was making money. Diddy's been famous and rich for a long time, over 30 years. So to see him lose it all to the point where he can't even access the things that he's used to having it all. It's really, really mind-boggling. It's crazy how these people of power, these dudes, especially men of power, they just have this power complex, man. And it's always perverted. These some nasty motherfuckers. Bill Cosby was nasty too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just go around doing whatever the fuck you want because you got a little bit of money in your pocket. But that's just the way humanity is. It's a hierarchy. People play into that. The more money you have, the more of an asshole you become. Especially if you was already one to begin with. Now, I don't really go into the whole zodiac signs. Dude is a fucking creep show, and he's a Scorpio. You know who else is a Scorpio? Drake. So, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just a weirdo Scorpio thing. I don't know. But to see this all happen and all come to fruition is nuts. First of all, this motherfucker got 1,000 bottles of lube in his residence. That was mixed up with a bunch of things. It was baby oil and lube. But baby oil is lube. So, yeah, you had 1,000 bottles of lube. What the fuck was you trying to do? Create a water slide in your damn living room? He has so much he could have swam in lube. That's how much lube. You could have filled up all his tubs in the house. That's how much lube that is. Like, that's some nasty work. But he's in some deep doodle because the feds said it from the jump. Yo, listen, the freak off behavior is the core of this case. That's the quotes. This is quotes from the affidavit. I'm going to say it again. Freak off behavior is the core of this case. He's going to go to jail for being a creepy, nasty man and a violent man at that. Creepy, nasty, violent man. And he did it to himself. I don't feel sorry for him, and neither should you feel sorry for him. Man been a millionaire, multi-millionaire for 30 years. Did whatever he wanted. Burned down whatever he wanted. Burned down Kid Cudi's car. That's in the affidavit. Oh, they're going to try to get his ass for that too. It's part of the reason why he couldn't get bail. Diddy, when they are investigating you and you have somewhat of an idea of who they could be cooperating with them, it is not wise for you to then try to contact those potential witnesses, whether it's your phone or someone else's phone. It's not wise to talk to them at all because they are following and paying attention to everything you're doing, you fucking idiot. But see, when you have a power complex like he does, when you're used to getting away with everything and doing whatever the hell you want, you think that you're immune to things like this. Going to jail, being followed, being tapped, being accountable for your actions. Truly accountable. He's experiencing all of that. It's why he couldn't get bail. The judge said, you were contacting potential witnesses. You were tampering with the case. Why should we trust you? And oh, by the way, you are freaking insanely violent. So why should we trust you out on bail again? Of course he didn't get it. He did it to himself. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing is that the bail package was actually a pretty sound package. It was stellar. He sold his house there. He bought the rest of the house. I don't know if it was the house in Star Island or not, but he paid the rest of the mortgage off and he got it appraised as almost $50 million property. He tried to put that up. He tried to put up all the women in his family, all their passports. I don't know what was up with that. He didn't give up none of the boys' passports. I don't get that. But he really was trying to go and to the max when it came to getting that bail, as he should. But critical mistake he made was trying to contact potential witnesses. I mean, he don't know shit, does he? He didn't watch any of these crime movies. Watch a documentary. It's like 101. Don't contact witnesses. Like, don't do that. They obviously will get you for that. But yeah, man, now he's just locked up and he's waiting for trial. And they already got him on suicide watch. Not sure if they just putting him on suicide watch just to isolate him from others, but he's in solitary confinement. He's not used to any of this. This is the same guy who shot a woman in the face at a nightclub in the early 2000s or late 90s. That infamous shooting in the nightclub when he was dating Jennifer Lopez. I remember this. We was out on the streets when it happened. I was damn near an adult at the time. And we all knew he did it then. But we knew that, Shine is going to take the rap because Shine a real nigga. We was saying that on the street. Like, Shine is a real one. He going to take the fall. And he did that. He did exactly what we imagined that anybody in that situation would do if they were from the streets. And Shine really did that. Shine is really an honorable dude, yo. He lived his raps. One of the few who did. Didn't say a word. He did his time. All 10 years. Shine did 10 years because of Sean Diddy Combs. 10. Never said a word. Never snitched on him. Never nothing. Did his time. Then came out, changed his life, went back to Belize because, they did deport him because of that, obviously. But instead of going back to his home country and becoming a bum, he didn't do that. He applied himself into the politics, changed his life, and trying to help out his country now. Now he's trying to become the future prime minister of Belize. And you know what? To his credit, he used Diddy's punk ass to help get his legal situation situated over here in the United States. It's the least Diddy could have done, given that he did 10 years for his punk ass. So to see Shine get his little get back, let me play this clip actually what Shine had said when they tried to question. They tried to get a got you on Shine when he was talking and to the press in his country. So let me give you this little clip real quick.
I moved on, but let us not pretend as if I was in Miami for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Well, I went a birthday with him once.
I
saw a birthday cake.
I went again to do a charity event for impoverished youth in London. So let us not lose sight of what the cold hard facts are. This was not someone who I vacationed with and who he and I enjoyed this great intimate relationship of brotherhood. This is someone who destroyed my life and who I forgave and who I moved on, and for the better interest of Belize, because he was in a position at that time to give scholarships and to maybe invest. I would not deny attempting to bring the investment to Belize and to bring the contributions to education to Belize, but don't distort it as if, he and I were bombale. This is someone that destroyed my life, but do I take any joy or any satisfaction with what he is going through? Absolutely not. I am different than maybe other people. No one needs to fail for me to succeed. No one needs to suffer for me.
At the height of your professional relationship, or thereafter through the reconciliation, when he was an instrumental part of promoting you through Revolt Media, were you aware of these freak-off events, and were you aware of them? Did you have any participation in them?
Oh my goodness, Jules Vasquez. Jules Vasquez.
Were you aware of them?
Jules Vasquez.
Were you aware of the freak-offs?
Sir, I had nothing to do with Sean Combs' personal life, no interaction. That level, everything was strictly on a professional level.
So as you heard, Shine made it clear, like, did he put himself in this situation? We was acquaintances, we were cordial, but we didn't conduct business like that when I got out of jail. We just did some appearances at a couple events, conducted some business, And that was it. Nothing more, nothing less. So, yo, Shine sounding like a true politician right there. And good for him. It's funny how all the chickens have come home to roost. The people that he did the dirtiest is doing very well. Mace is another one. Just before all this shit came down, before Cassie came out and spoke up, he finally was shamed into giving Mace his publishing that Mace has wanted for several years now. He wanted his masters. Yo, I need my publishing. I need that. And Diddy, to his credit, did give it to him finally. And then, you know, shortly after, Cam and him got back together. Thank God. That's awesome. Some other childhood heroes that I looked at, and to see them back together was awesome. But for him to rekindle his relationship with Cam, and then him and Cam to break bread on a show and get that big money from the fantasy football company or the betting gambling company. And so to have all of those things going well for him is really awesome. Why all the bad things are happening to the one that did all the bad things in Sean Diddy Combs. Shit, Sean, yo, Diddy fucked over a lot of people, yo. Craig Mack went back to church. He didn't even want to go on tour anymore. He didn't want to make music anymore. Mace went to church. I can go on and on. Black Rob, you know, he rest his soul, you know, had a tough time after that. You know, G-Dep did a long stretch in jail because he was out robbing and doing wild shit. I mean, the paper, the money wasn't right for none of these dudes. You heard what the Lox said. If you're a fan of the Lox said it best. Would have smacked you with the burner, but I know you sue. That was a Jadakiss line when he was talking about Puff. It was an indirect shot to Puff when they had breakup, when they left Bad Boy and went to the Rough Riders. That was turbulent. They wanted to smack that motherfucker. But just like Kiss said, we know you would sue, so we're going to leave it alone. But, man, it's going to be interesting to see more come from this case in the end. It's going to be more victims. It's going to be more details to come. It's already like rumors saying that there's just hundreds of hours of just tape of just freak-offs. Like, the craziest thing is no real details have come out about any more video as far as who's on these tapes. If you got a shit ton of hours of tape, you got some celebrities, you got some politicians, you got some important people on that footage. Let's hear those names. So once this goes to trial, it's going to be interesting to see how far they actually go when it comes to divulging who was a part of this whole sex ring that he put together. But yo, I'm definitely tuned in. I'm definitely locked in on all the details that's to come from this case, from this trial. It's going to be one of the bigger trials that we've had in quite some time. This probably will be bigger than Bill Cosby's trial. Much bigger than Bill Cosby's trial because of Diddy's stature in the entertainment business. So, yeah, man, this is going to get only more interesting. And just think of all the crazy documentaries we're going to get from all of this as well. So, yo, just keep tuned in and stay locked, yo. Stay locked here at The Voice Junkie, yo. We're going to give you the information the way it should be given. So, yeah, man, it's time to jump into some technology news. It's been a while since we've covered a little technology news on this podcast, The Voice Junkie. It's one of the areas that I like to talk about every now and then because it is a love of mine. It is something that I very much pay attention to, all consumer electronics, but most definitely mobile technology. I know those of you out there don't know that I actually once upon a time used to be a mobile technology writer. This is back in the day, mid 2000s. That's when blogging was all the rage. Everybody went crazy over that. Everybody had functioning jobs from home. Like, it was really, really interesting back in those times. But anyway, before I get to the iPhone 16, I want to talk about the Pixel line. The Pixel 9, the Pixel Pro, and the Pixel 9 XL, or Pro 9 XL. Those phones came out before the new iPhones came out. So I want to talk about Google's phones first because, they need the promotion a lot more than Apple does because some of y'all out there don't even know anything about Google's line of phones. So the Pixel, that's what it's called, the Google Pixel. The Pixel 9, Pixel 9 Pro, Pixel 9 Pro XL, there we go, I said it better. Those line of phones have come out. And they all price at a different tier. So this is a more competitive line of phones finally that Google can compare to the iPhone this year. And they did a hell of a job. They got colors. They got great camera specs. They got great AI technology. The whole nine. Bells and whistles and everything. Now you have the iPhone that just dropped. I'm recording this on a Saturday, so they dropped on a Friday. So yeah, the iPhone just dropped. It's out there. It's probably hitting people's mailboxes as I speak. The iPhone this year is boring. The iPhone Pro, the iPhone 16 Pro, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max are boring phones. I'm just gonna keep it 100. I had the 15 Pro, and for those of you who have the 15 Pro, there is no reason to switch into the 16 this year. You can be comfortable and wait for the next iteration, which is the next line next year, which will be 17. 16 is a mild iteration above 15. The only thing you'll get is a little bit of a better battery, and you'll get that nice little cool camera button switch thing that they got on the side, that they added on the side of the iPhone. Now, to their credit, Apple, they added that little side button, that little camera button, to all iterations this year. So they didn't cheap out and just put it on the Pro line. No, they put that camera button on the standard 16s, just like the Pro line. Now the standard 16 and the Pro line will both have that camera switch button. So if you try it out, go to your local Best Buy or go to your local Apple store or whatnot. Try it out. The little button thingamajiggy is pretty sweet. It really, really makes operating the camera just more fun and usable. So other than that, there's really nothing that's exciting that Apple did. I'll get to my most exciting parts of what Apple did this week in just a bit, but on the hardware side, there's nothing really exciting about this year's iPhone 16 other than that little camera switch button. Now, colors. They did knock it out the park as far as colors is concerned on the standard 16 model. The Pro lines, they got some boring colors. I'm sorry. That little desert titanium color, it's alright. The other little gray color is cool. Nothing to scream about. They're very boring. They don't stick out in any way. However, the 16 line, but they got the aquamarine color that looks like this real cool blue. Then you got this pink color that they got is fly. The shit look like a Laffy Taffy. Like Laffy Taffy pink. Cam would be proud. You know what I'm saying? So they got really dope colors this year for the 16 line. If you wanted to upgrade, I would honestly look at the 16 over the Pro this year. And that doesn't always happen with Apple. Usually the 16 isn't the looker. The Pro line is usually the looker, the one that everybody likes to look at. But this year, I would say the 16 model, the standard 16, is definitely the one to look at because of the colors and just because it just looks different. It adds a little flair. But as far as the Pixel line compared to that line, pretty good and comparable. So now you got some phones that you can definitely compare, when it comes to spending your dollars. Now, let me get to the really exciting part for me, the techier side of things. I thought was more important these last couple of weeks. And that is the software side as far as Apple is concerned. iOS 18 rolled out alongside the new iPhones this week. And other than a little bit of cool little features as far as new emojis and actionable features and, those types of things, the most important feature that iOS 18 brought, in my opinion, and for those techier types like me, is RCS, the ability to communicate with Android devices using RCS. Now, RCS is an end-to-end encrypted messaging system that Google Messages uses now that is operable with the carriers now. So everybody's on board as far as end-to-end encryption is concerned outside of Apple. See, that was the problem. Before, you didn't have that type of privacy and security. You only got it at iMessage or the third parties like WhatsApp before, of course, Facebook bought it, and the other third party like Signal, which I like a lot. Those are, just off the top of my head, and Telegram, of course. But the ones that I mentioned previous of Telegram, WhatsApp, and Signal, for most people is like the standard when it comes to end-to-end encryption on the third-party side. Now, with Apple, iMessage is automatically end-to-end encrypted. So people who don't know shit about shit still have their messages encrypted if they have iMessage enabled the proper way. The problem with those people who love iMessage, they couldn't leave iMessage, and Apple was never going to allow it to be available on Android. Now, thanks in large part to the EU, the European Union, when it comes down to cracking down on these companies, they cracked down on Apple when it came to the Type-C port. That's why we have Type-C in the United States, because of the EU. Thank you. And because of the EU, they're the reason why we'll have finally the ability for Android and iOS to finally communicate with each other on the end-to-end encryption side. So that's what's exciting. It's exciting for those people who were stuck on those goddamn iPhones because people that they care and love about didn't want to get off of iMessage. Now you can get off iMessage, you can get off of Apple and go to Android happily because of RCS. Thank you, Apple, for implementing it in your goddamn iOS 18 update. Now, for those of you who haven't updated, get to your damn update now.
Let me tell you, before I say anything, I just want to say, whoever's helping her, whoever's coaching her, whoever's the puppet master running the strings, you did an amazing job.
She did a great job.
They did an amazing job from the moment Biden drops out, forcing Biden to drop out. Right, whatever they're doing, whoever's writing those speeches, getting her to deliver them, coaching her, she's nailing it.
Well, you just heard it first from one of the MAGA gods himself, Joe Rogan. So, just like I said in the last episode on the Voice Junkie, I said, she eviscerated him. She did what was supposed to be done. That wasn't just hyperbole. That was facts. That was me seeing something with my two eyes and digesting it in real time. That's what Joe Rogan did as well. So it's nice to see that Joe Rogan actually has a functioning brain and that he's not completely compromised by his dollars and compromised by his viewership. Because let's be honest, a good portion of his audience are leaning real heavy on the MAGA / right-winger side of things when it comes to the spectrum aisle. But it's not really that. It's just observing something and just reporting the facts. And I'm glad he did that. I mean, it was obvious. We seen that unmanning that she did to him. It was embarrassing. Yeah, we all seen that with our own two eyes. Quite frankly, the undressing, the unmanning of his manhood and his identity was on display at that debate. So not much can be said. Nice that Rogan summed it up nicely. But that's the end of this week's episode 82. Please do what you need to do. Like I said before, share the episode, like the episode. If you can't do that, hell, it'll be cool if you can go in the description box and give us 5 stars. That'll trip up the algorithms. So do that for us. Hit the 5 stars, share it to your family, your friends, do all that good stuff. Grow the community. Let's get more of these episodes out. All right. Until next time, holla at y'all. See y'all soon. Peace.